Hey, Nancy Baker here. I'm going to show you the basics of term mapping today. I'm going to start with my usual Vipernell query, and I have all here on the main sheet. I have the results I just brought back. First of all, I'm going to sort of tell you what term mapping, the need that term mapping fills. So oftentimes people ask me, you only have 3 cells here where I can do sifting. So here I've put in fipronil and dust and water, but pretend I want to go through different species of animal that could use fipronil. So I could put dogs here or cats here, and then I can sift on those terms as well. But what if I also want to look at goats and sheep? People say, can I add a new column here and copy these over? And the answer is no. 3 is the limit here. But there is a way to sift on fipronil, dogs, cats, and also fleas, ticks, llamas, pigs, whatever, anything you want to on the term mapping sheet. So let's go over to the term mapping sheet. And I've cleared it off. Again, if yours happens to have something on it, just select the rows and click on delete. Okay, so let's go. Let's take our little toy example here. I want dogs, cat. I could do dog and cat. And let's say we're also interested in goats, sheep, pig. Maybe I should stick with, I should probably stick with singular. It doesn't matter. You could do either way. Pig. Let's do pig. What else? Camel, llama. Okay. And then I'm going over here. You have to put a term over here. Just any, you can just put a letter if you wanted. It doesn't really matter. And I'm just going to put animal there. And so what happens here is whenever the abstract sifter, when I click on map, the abstract sifter is going to read this column of terms and then go to the main sheet and look for these 3 characters in the title, abstract, and keyword of every record, like 1,800 records on the main sheet. And then it's going to count the number of articles that have DOG in them. Then it's going to count the number of articles that have CATS in them. Then it's going to count goats and so on, giving you the number of articles that have that term in it. Okay, so let's try to see what happens. So I click on map. Now those 1,800 articles are being looked at, and dog, cats, all these are being added up. And you can see no occurrences of llama, but we have lots of CATS and lots of some goats, sheep, pig, camel. So this gives you kind of an overview of your corpus, but there's some things then that you can do to make finding things easier. For instance, if I can click on goats and it automatically writes goats here, it's nothing fancy, and then sifts on the goats term. And you can then go read about goats and fipronil. You could also click over here on this term, double click on it. And what that does, it writes this string of characters, TX : animal here. And what this gives you here is the count of the number of terms here. So that first article has 3 of these terms in it because there's a 3 here. And these articles have 2 of those terms in it. So let's see what this one has. I'm going to double click here to see the abstract. So this has dog in it. It has cats right here. It has goats. Here's goat. And yeah, so it has those 3 in there. So that article is the richest in this set of terms. So if we want to rank, we could rank this set of articles by how many species in our list that article has. All right, let me show you a little bit more less of a toy example. Let's say today we're interested in looking at rodent studies on fipronil, rodent toxicity studies on fipronil. Well, I could put in here like mice, and I could put here rats, but then maybe I want dose. I don't have any room for dose, and then I want mgs per kg, and I can't sift on those. So again, the solution is to use term mapping. But because dose studies in rodents is such a common thing for people to search for, I have some pre-prepared lists. Here I've clicked on the More button on the term mapping sheet. That shows me a list of some buttons, and here's the example I'm going to show you now, rodent studies. And I'm going to say yes. That means it's going to clear all those animal things off. And now I get a pretty long list of not just mice and rats, but I even get things like different types of mice and rats. Um, and the point is here, if you're looking for an article about dose studies in rodents, if that article or citation, the abstract and title, have one of these terms, they might be of interest to you. They have two of these terms, they might be more interesting. If they have three or four or five of these terms, they might be absolutely interesting. And you could generalize to say that the more of these terms your citation has, the more likely it is to be of interest to you if indeed you're looking for rodent studies, rodent dose ranging studies. So let's go ahead and map this. And again, of course, these are just Excel rows. You can delete them if you decide you don't care about OECD. You can get rid of that. And so here we can break this down and see all the different ways that these terms are being used and how common they are. So Sprague Daily with a dash is 10 times, without a 0. Fisher, not many Fisher mice. Okay, and again, you can then double click on a term and it will just write it to the Sifter cell and you get the count. But more importantly, if you click over here on this side, you get this result. So this means that these first two citations here have 9 of the terms on this sheet. And if you're looking for rodent dose ranging studies, those are probably the ones that you should start with. So let's look at this one. So this one has MIGs, it has gavage, it has dose, it has mice, control, MIGs several times, control. So it is very likely, let's read the title, fipronil-induced genotoxicity and DNA damage in vivo. Yep, so it's definitely falls into the category of what we're interested in. Now I could also like put here toxicity and find out that this one has some terms toxicity, this one doesn't. This one is more of control, mice, mouse, mice. This is more a genetic kind of study. Anyway, I think you get the picture. That's what the term mapping sheet does, is give you a chance to rank articles based on a set of terms that you make up, that you're in charge of. No black box. It's all visible and reproducible. Thank you.